of the Italian cars. Heck yes. This is a 2017 Alfa Romeo 4C Spyder in yellow. This is great. This is so good. Woo. It's so incredibly light that 240 horsepower is like, it's monstrous in this car, especially when you're on a road where the suggested speed limit is 30 kilometers an hour. Manual steering too. Let's go for a drive, you guys. First off, the sound is not something I expected, and this is next level. This is quite possibly, I've been in the car for like 5 minutes, quite possibly the best sounding 4-cylinder engine I've ever driven. And this is completely like stock from the factory. Does it have mufflers? I don't know, but if it does, they're an excuse for a muffler. Let's leave it at that. It's mid-engine, rear-wheel drive, incredibly light, incredibly small. It's very short and stubby. It's kind of wide. Manual steering and a dual clutch paddle shift transmission, which honestly is kind of welcome in this car. The boost comes on incredibly quickly, and when it does, you know it hits. Like, it's a very turbo-y feeling car. Like, you can feel the boost come on and just toss you back in the seat. I've got to say thank you so much to the guys over at Alfa Romeo Victoria for providing us with this gorgeous 4C Spyder for the day. Can't thank you guys enough. You should definitely hit them up. And they also have a handling package with this car that does a few tweaks to the handling with the camber and various other suspension adjustments, which is unique to Alfa Romeo Victoria. So definitely check those guys out. They've got a bunch of cool stuff. You guys probably could have guessed this, but the first word that comes to my mind is exotic, okay? That should be, and it is with this car, but it should be the first word that comes to your mind whenever you just think of Italian cars in general, and this one is no exception. It's quirky, it's weird, it's small, it's got like a digital dash, right? A digital display, completely customizable and everything. So it has that, but at the same time, it's got manual steering, and a bunch of stuff is just very raw. So around town, when you're steering this thing, you're really having to muscle it around, but it is direct. It is incredibly direct, and it feels like a brand new car. Like, with manual steering and everything, all the stuff that is analog about it, it still feels like a brand new sports car. Wow, that sound. Oh yeah, much better, much better. First impressions, steering is like really direct. Probably my favorite thing about the car so far is the steering. Suspension is rather stiff, and these seats do not have a lot of padding. They hold you in wonderfully though, but that being said, the car is super stiff. If there's one thing that's gonna make or break a car, it is absolutely gonna be the steering feel. You could have the most powerful engine, wow, you could have the best sounding engine, you could have the best dynamically controlled chassis, but if your steering feel does not connect your hands to the pavement, you've got nothing at the end of the day. The Alfa Romeo is one of those cars where you'll immediately notice a difference to pretty much everything else that you've ever driven, and that is definitely for the better. Like, this steering is really, really good. It's definitely the thing I'm noticing the most. Second are the brakes, which are honestly really confidence inspiring. Honestly, the only downside I can think of is the transmission around town, not the greatest. It's not a city car. It's a dual clutch, right? It feels like the clutch is engaging and disengaging, right? If you're on a hill, it'll roll back a little bit, things like that. So it's not the best around the city, and the front end might not be to your taste. I really think Alfa also should have gone with an analog gauge on here, just to kind of go with the nature of the analog nature of this car. I think it could have really used a analog tack, but what a day. What a day. This is motoring right here. I mean, it's not motoring because I'm not shifting gears myself. I guess that's the third point. I guess that really is the third point of the car. To get away from that, it's clunky in the city with the dual clutch. The only way to get rid of that is a manual. Manual would have been awesome in this car, but I see why Alfa went with the dual clutch, and they're probably selling a lot more because of the dual clutch. The amount of craftsmanship, too, that went into the interior of this car, sure, it's not as, like, unique and one-off as a lot of other Italian sports and supercars, but it is different. It is carbon fiber top, exposed, awesome-looking carbon fiber everywhere here. It feels like a supercar. It's almost got that supercar experience. Almost. The power is definitely the most surprising thing about the car. Easily the most surprising thing about the car is the power. Like I said, does not feel like 240 in the slightest. Like this is, a carbon fiber chassis goes a long way. But the front of the car, it takes a while to grow on you, and I don't think it's fully grown on me yet, to be honest. It's not I love the front end, it's not I hate the front end. That being said, the amount of heads that are turning on this road and in the city and stuff with this car are crazy. I mean, some of you guys in Europe may be saying, oh, you see Alfas everywhere. Here in North America, Alfas have only been sold most recently in the last, 3 years, right? Traction does cut in, I don't know, that might just be the actual limits, but traction control seems a little bit on the conservative side. But then again, we could put it in race mode if we really want. You get torque really low down, as low as kind of $2,000, 2,500 RPM. It comes on really low. Like it's a really torquey engine, and it's a mid-range engine, For me though, personally, if you guys have been watching the channel for a while, I own a second generation MR2 turbo, about 240 horsepower, mid-engine, but this weighs like 800 pounds less, or not quite that much, like 400 or 500 pounds less. Mid-engine's where my heart is. I love muscle cars, I love Grand Tours, sometimes I like trucks, but mid-engine sports cars and supercars, that's me. I think you guys already know that, but the smiles per gallon with this one. Wow, okay, this is nutty fast on a tight road with 240 horse. Like, you guys might think I'm bullshitting right now. I'm absolutely not. From someone who's driven, 700-800 horsepower cars, it is good. I've got to say though, whatever they've done to the suspension, even those minor tweaks, I can't necessarily compare it to a stock car, a bone stock car without those, but it's really nice. The steering weight's heavy and it just dips in, even with traction off right now. I'm not like pushing the car right to the limits, but pushing it enough to have a lot of fun. Occasionally you get a nice blow-off noise as well. I've said on the podcast before that I'm not a big fan of yellow cars. That definitely holds true. And the dealership actually gave us an option to take out either a red one or a yellow one, both Spyders, right? And I chose the yellow one. I thought it was something different. I kind of regret it now a little bit, not gonna lie. I definitely like the red, but you always see 4Cs in red, at least online and in video, which isn't the greatest, but in person, the yellow is actually better in person than it is in photos, but at the same time, personally not the color I would go for. Top down is so good. So good. Woo! Oh yeah. Anyways, you guys, thank you so much for watching. This has been the Alfa Romeo 4C. What a stunner. What an absolute stunner, you guys. Like I said, hit up our podcast if you want to go for a listen. Subscribe if you haven't already. Give it a like and a share and a thumbs up. And go check out Alfa Romeo Victoria. They've got a bunch of cool stuff in the inventory. The link will be in the description. All right, you guys, we will see you next time. challenge, to say the least. Oh, that's a car coming. Visibility is absolutely terrible for backing up. Oh my God, my neck.